Peace, 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 fam. Oh, shit, hold on. I'm dropping stuff. All right, what's going on, family? Let me hold on a second. Let me turn this light out. All right. Does my sound good? Can y'all hear me good? Put a one in the chat room for me if y'all can hear me good. Real quick before I really get off into what I want to do. Somebody give me a one in the chat if y'all can hear me. If my sound is good. Before we start. I don't see nobody put nothing in the chat, so. Damn, I was muted the whole time talking. I didn't even know. I'm back. I was going in too. Hold on. All right. I'm unmuted now. Thanks, GBS. I wanna talk about yeah. Y'all can hear me now, right? I'm back now. Y'all unmuted it. Yeah, I wanna talk about symbolism, and I want to talk about how images are used to describe things, are used to give understanding of something. With our words. An image. You can see an image and understand what room you in, what country you in, or whatever's happening based off of images. Images are very powerful, and images can depict how you see yourself. So there was a lot of imagery in the early 1900s. What's going on, y'all? And I want to show some white imagery first, and then get into how we was conditioned to see ourselves as coon, sambos, mammies, and all these different things. Some time ago, I did a live stream on a coon character, and I broke down what a coon was as opposed to a sambo and a mammy, because they had different clarifications for what they were. White people depicted us into different categories as to how they would use us. And we knew that the Sambo are the ones that you see on TV under the Republican Party, being bulldogs for white supremacy. The coon was considered the street dude, the guy in the street with the pistol talking about the white man. He ready to kick ass, but he never does nothing about it. The coon, see, we got it backwards. The coon is the person that complains about his circumstances but never does anything about it. That's what a coon is. Not the ones that you see on TV that you call sellouts. Those people are considered sambos. They don't think for themselves. The white man is their daddy. The coon is the one that calls the white man a devil, but afraid to fight him or won't get up and change the circumstances. And we broke that down in the coon character series, the Jim Crow era coon character series. So, oh my God, man. So, okay, hold on for a second. Hey, Todd Collins, thank you so much for the cash app. What's up, Rashid? I see you up in there. Yeah, thanks for the cash app, brother Ty. Hold on a second. Let me do that. I didn't even put my banners up. Yeah, scrolling at the bottom, is the Cash App, $ Urban Nerds Worldwide. Yeah, thank you so much, Todd Collins, for the Cash App, my brother. All right, what I want to do, matter of fact, let me do this real quick. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let me do this. All right, hold on for a second. Let me before I share my screen. I want to put something up there. All right, no, that's cool. All right, all right. So yeah, so let me come back. All right, so what I want to do, I want to talk about a man named Thomas Nast. And Thomas Nast was a famous painter, and he depicted images in cartoons, and he depicted images about things that was going on at a certain time, where you can look at these images and it formulates the way you wax dog. What's going on, beloved? God damn! It formulates the way you see yourself. It formulates the way you think. Um, uh, Thomas Nast is credited with creating the elephant for the Republican Party. He's not credited with creating the donkey for the Democratic Party, but he's credited with bringing it to light and making it famous. Now, I'm gonna break down and show you guys how these things came about and what they represented. I'm also going to show you guys the tiger from Tammany Hall. We're going to get into Lady America, and I'm going to show you the imagery of America, and the images that they used, and then segue it right into how they depicted us. So I haven't really done streams like this in a minute, man, but I was on my brother's New Black Knowledge channel today, man, and he was going in, man, and he inspired me. So I definitely want to give shout out to my brother Danny from MBK. Make sure y'all subscribe to New Black Knowledge and MBK channel. That's one of my teachers, man, and he really go in. So I want to break this down and give it to you guys in my words. So we're going to share the screen. We're going to get off into it, but we're not going to be here all night. We share the screen. Let's just get right to it. Make sure y'all hitting that Cash App, man, scrolling at the bottom of the screen. $ Urban Nerds. All right, we're gonna start off here with a German, a man named Thomas Nast, right? Thomas Nast was a German-born caricaturist and an editorial cartoonist, often considered to be the father of American cartoon. He was a critic of the Democratic Representative Boss Tweed and the Tammany Hall Democratic Party political machine out of New York. And we're going to get the Boss Tweed, right? Among his notable works were the creation of the modern version of Santa Claus, based on the traditional German figures of Santa Claus, which was German, and the political symbols of the elephant for the Republican Party. Contrary to popular belief, Nas did not create the he didn't create the Uncle Sam or the Columbia. All right, so now that I'm giving you basically a brief aspect of who this man was. So now when you see that elephant, you can think of Thomas Nast. When you see the modern figure of Santa Claus in America, you think of Thomas Nast. He created these cartoons, right? So we're gonna get into how the Republican and the Democratic parties got their animal symbols, right? The Democratic, hold on for a second. Okay, yeah. The Democratic Party's donkey and the Republican Party's elephant have been on a political scene since the 19th century. The origins of the Democratic donkey can be traced to the 1828 presidential campaign of Andrew Jackson. During the race, opponents of Jackson called him a jackass. Now, now listen, right? During the race, his opponents called Andrew Jackson, who was a jackass, right? However, Rather than rejecting the label, Jackson, a hero of the War of 1812, who later served in the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, was amused by it and included an image of an animal in his campaign posters. Jackson went on to defeat incumbent John Quincy Adams and served as America's first Democratic president. In the 1870s, influential political cartoonist Thomas Nast helped popularize the donkey as a symbol for the entire Democratic Party. Now, how many of y'all knew that? How many of y'all knew that the damn donkey for the Democratic Party represented Andrew Jackson being called a jackass? Put a one in the chat if y'all knew that. So we're actually, as so-called black Democrats today, supporting a fucking jackass. Because the donkey that represents the Democratic Party is associated with being a jackass. Because a racist colonizer represented it, Andrew Jackson. Let's get to the Republican Party. The Republican Party was formed in 1854, and 6 years later, Abraham Lincoln became its first member elected to the White House. An image of an elephant was featured as a Republican symbol, and at least one political cartoon and newspaper illustrating during the Civil War. The elephant was an expression used by soldiers to mean experiencing combat, but it didn't start to take hold as a GOP symbol until Thomas Nast, who was considered the father of modern political cartoon, used it in 1874 in Harper's Weekly cartoon. Titled The Third Term Panic, Nast's drawing mocked the New York Herald, which has seemed to be critical of Ulysses Grant, rumored bid for a third term, and portrayed various interest groups of animals, including an elephant labeled the Republican vote. So let's look at the image. Let's bring up the picture of the image. That's the tiger. So these here is the image of. Hold on. is the image of the elephant, and then you have the jackass. So these are early depictions of when you seen these images, you already knew what you were watching. You knew what you was watching. You seen the elephant, you seen the jackass. Here's another one up top, is the jackass kicking a lion. That's also symbolism. So let me get back to it. Right? So it says what's shown the elephant labeled the Republican vote, which was shown standing at the edge of a pit. Nas employed the elephant to represent Republicans in additional cartoons during the 1870s, and by 1880, other cartoonists were using the creature to symbolize the party. Okay, I'm gonna wait to get to this part. I want to go here. Matter of fact, no, I'll go here now. Along with the donkey and the elephant, the German-born Nas is associated with another political party animal, the ferocious Tammany tiger, which the crusading artist famously featured in 1871. Harper's Weekly cartoon attacked New York's boss William Tweed, he was a senator, at Tammany Hall, and the corrupt machine. Now, these are images that you'll see of Tammany Hall. Let me explain to you what Tammany Hall was first, and then I'll show you the images. What's going on, Info Man, big bro? Tammany Hall, also known as Society of St. Tammany, the Sons of St. Tammany, or the Columbian Order, was a New York City political organization founded in 1786 and incorporated in 1789 as the Tammany Society. It was the main local political machine of the Democratic Party and played a major role in controlling New York City and New York state politics and helping immigrants, most notably the Irish, rise in American politics. Because I'm going to show you how the Irish was when you see them say help Irish rise in American politics, I'm going to show you right now why the Irish had to be helped rise in American politics. I'm going to show you guys how the Irish were depicted. Let's go up here. Let's find the Irish. Here we go, right here. Let's look at the Irish. When you look at when you see this image here, right? and you see this white man back here, and then you see this gorilla. The first thing you would think that was a black person. No, this is in Britain, and how the British depicted the Irish. They called them monkeys. So Tammany Hall was corrupt, but they helped in New York City, New York State, helped the Irish basically become honorary white folks. But this is an image here. So now when you seen this image here, this ain't had nothing to do with black people. This ain't had nothing to do with black people. This here was white people depicting Irish, because the Irish was like the niggas of Europe, right? So I'm just showing you different imagery first to give you understanding of how we came into play. So it says immigrants, most notably Irish, rise in American politics from 1790 to 1960s. It typically controlled the Democratic nominations and political patronage in Manhattan. So now you had a man, Boss Tweed, right? Boss Tweed was a senator, and they were corrupt. They basically had their foot on everybody. As far as taxes, money, they was controlling the voting. They was doing everything. So what Thomas Nash did was he created images. He created images of a man, of Boss Tweed, and this is an image of Boss Tweed. So you can see he's fat, is a fat man, meaning greedy, as a term for greedy. And then he has no head, but he has a dollar sign on his head. So now when you've seen that image of fat, because fat represented at that time wealthy, doing good. So you see a fat man with a real fat body, and it was an image of greed, power, and he has no face, but he has money. This was Boss Tweed. He was well hated, and what he did was Thomas Nash helped bring Tammany Hall down. So let's I'm just going through this where I'm showing you different images, right? Let's look at another image here before I get to us. Let's see if I can find this other one here. Let me go back down. This is another image. This is another image of them, and in this image they got their foot. They have their foot on the back and on the head of a black man, and as you can see, he's laying on the American flag. So these are different paintings and images that you will see, but these images will shape the viewpoint on how we're viewed. Let's see if I can pull up another. Here, right here in Tammany Hall, this is the Tammany Tiger, and the Tammany Tiger right here is attacking Columbia, which was the face of the Republic, which was a woman. She's laying on the flag. Her sword is off to the side, but the tiger represents basically white man in power and government. The democratic forces at that time. And this is an image of the tiger attacking Columbia. And I'm explaining to you right now what Columbia meant. So let's move over here. All right. This one image here is Thomas Nash political cartoon depicting the Democratic presidential candidate Horace Greeley and Tammany Hall political boss, basically William Tweed. And this is them devouring each other. This is them basically backbiting, talking about each other, and they're both corrupt politicians, robbing the people. What's going on, All Heart Mind? What's up? Who we got in here? Simone Lewis. These are different images of corrupt politicians, and this is Thomas Nash drawing an image of them devouring each other, but at the same time they're devouring the people. All right, so now we're gonna get into it, right? So here we go. When America was female, right? When America was female. So I'm gonna go down. It says the photos of the historic suffrage. No, I don't want to read that. So okay, so these are images. These are images of early 1900s in America. Who were they dressed as, and perhaps more importantly, why can't contemporary feminists have costumes? Hold on for a second. Give me a second, y'all. Let me pull up what I wanted to pull up. Okay, yeah, here we go. All right. In the 1900s, Columbia appeared often in cartoons. Here she gives ladies Lady Liberty like welcome to persecuted Germans in 1881 coming into America. So this is the image of Columbia and this white woman, right? And I'm explaining to you who she was, right? This is the image of Columbia and this white woman coming into with Germans coming into America at the time in 1881. She's also been pictured standing up for the rights of Chinese immigrants, right? So this is her right here. This is an image of this white woman standing up for the rights of Chinese immigrants. And this is why you get your Beckys and the white woman is always depicted as something on high, because what they did was they placed this white woman as the standard for what the image of America would be. And this is why to this day, a lot of you black men, when you see white women, you don't know how to handle yourself. When you see white women, you think you have a status. When you see a white woman, see, you don't even understand why you do this. So I'm explaining to you. You don't understand. You don't understand what the white man did in his symbolism. So now anything image of white is great, especially when it comes to a woman. The standard of beauty, the standard of everything. So now, if you're a successful black man, if you got a white woman, man, you're at the apex of everything. This is images can control your mind psychologically. So this is her standing up for Chinese immigrants against the white man. Now you see her face, you see her mad face, you see these Confederates and these white men with guns. They're very upset. They're very upset because now she's standing in the gap for this Chinese man. And often been a martial figure. This is her in 1861. This is her in 1861. This is the image of her holding the flag up with her sword. She played a major role in World War I propaganda posters, sows the seeds. So this is always this woman. Wake up, America, this white woman. Civilizations calls every man, woman, and child, right? So they're using her. So now they also use this white woman in the churches. Jesus Christ and Latter-day Saints. They used her. They used this white woman for many different things. They even used Margaret Sanger, right, for Planned Parenthood. But the reason why she was able to get away with that, because this white woman was always depicted as something of positivity, something of cleanliness, something of greatness. Columbia calls. Now this is an image of her with a sword and the flag, right? It's an image of her with the sword and the flag, right? Now she had people that opposed. She had people that opposed, these views and these ways, because she was basically the epitome of what America, so-called this fake ass America, this fake ass republic. She was the representation of the republic. Now you had people that went against her, right? Now during the times of the Civil War, right? You had anti-Civil War groups. You had people that supported the Civil War. You had people that was anti-Civil War groups, right? And there was one group called the Copperheads, right? And shout out to Brother Danny. Now I knew about this, but I never really brought this to YouTube to really teach it. But shout out to NBK, New Black Knowledge, and my brother Danny, man, for bringing out this, bringing a lot of this information to the forefront. Now we're gonna get into what is a Copperhead? And in the 1860s, the Copperheads, also known as Peace Democrats, were a fraction of Democrats in the Union who opposed the American Civil War and wanted immediate peace settlement with the Confederates. Now, let me open it up, and I'm explaining to you what the Copperheads, and I'm gonna show you the depiction of what they did with the Copperheads, right? Now it says these were peace Democrats, but they wasn't really peace Democrats. They were a fraction of Democrats in the Union who opposed the American Civil War and wanted an immediate peace settlement with the Confederates. Republicans started calling anti-war Democrats Copperheads. So the Republicans called these people Copperheads, framing them as poisonous as a venomous snake, the pit viper. Those Democrats accepted the label, reiterating the Copperhead as the likeliness of liberty. which they cut from the Liberty head large cent coins and proudly wore the badges. By contrast, Democratic supporters of the war were called war Democrats. Notable copperheads included 2 Democratic congressmen. So let's show you the images of the copperheads and what they represented and what they went up against. So these are images here. These are images here of what they call the copperheads, and they're going up against Lady Liberty. Now you can see her with like a Captain America shield, with the colors red, white, and blue with the stars and stripes, and it has Union here. She's holding a sword, right? And these are the copperheads. And the reason why they call them copperheads because they were saying that they wanted an end to the war. They wanted to sit down at the table and negotiate, but they also supported the Confederates. They was mainly in more support of the Confederates. They didn't care nothing about black people. They didn't want to liberate black people. But this is an image here. This is an image here of during the Civil War and the fight against the Republic. Because, like I said, a lot of them wanted slavery to continue. Slavery was too many residuals and it was too much money. So this was an image of what you call white on white crime. You have to, when you see like these type of symbols, you have to know what these images represented. And then you have, like I said, you see this white woman looking like Wonder Woman. She got the star around her head. She got a sword in her hand and she has the shield. And you have angry white men. So this is like your feminism today. You have angry white men and snakes coming to take her down. That's why I showed you the image of the tiger from Tammany Hall tackling her and devouring her. Because these are men in power. Let's move on to the next. Oh, man. Hold on for a second. All right. You know what? Yeah, let me do this. Let me show you these images of these cartoons. So this is Thomas Nash here in America. Images of the Santa Claus that you grew up on. A lot of you guys will see this, and these images were in your mind. You would go to sleep thinking of Santa Claus. A lot of y'all was conditioned to believe that Santa Claus. Now I'm going somewhere with this. A lot of you guys was conditioned to believe that Santa Claus would come down your chimney. I believed in Santa Claus for a while until my dad told me that it wasn't no Santa Claus. My aunt and them told me about Santa Claus, but my dad wasn't having that shit. He told me it wasn't no Santa Claus, and he brought the toys. But these are the images that they put in your head, right? That you begin to believe and manifest. So imagery is important. You don't even have to know how to read or write. You can look at this image and see an image of Santa Claus and know that Santa Claus is going to bring me a toy. So images can depict the way that you view things, right? So images was very important. Let's look at another one. Like I said, I showed you the fat man. Oh, okay, yeah. So, yeah, all right. Well, I'm all over the place. Hold on for a second. Let me get here. Let me go here. How many of y'all remember? I remember the cartoon character Yosemite Sam, and he would always talk about the scallywag, right? Rootin' tootin'. He was always rootin' tootin'. He was always angry. He always had his gun, and he represented a Confederate soldier, right? And when you watch cartoons have symbolism in it. But you watching a cartoon and you got this angry man, always angry with 2 guns, clapping the guns all over the place, shooting, right? So Yosemite Sam represented a Confederate, and you old scallywag, and he hated scallywags. What were scallywags? Scallywags was white Southern Republicans known to their enemies as scallywags, made up of the biggest group of delegates to the radical Reconstruction era legislation. Some scallywags were established planners, mostly in the Deep South, who thought that whites should recognize. Now look at this. Who thought that whites should recognize black civil and political rights while still retaining control of political and economic life. Many were former Whigs conservatives who saw the Republicans as the successors to their old party. The majority of scallywags were non-slave holding small farmers as well as merchants, artisans, and other professionals who had remained loyal to the Union during the Civil War. Many live in the northern states of the region, and the number had either served in the Union Army or been in prison in Union or been in prison for Union sympathies. Though they differ in many views on race, many had strong anti-black attitudes. These men wanted to keep the hated rebels from regaining powers in the post-war South. They also sought to develop the region's economy and ensure the survival of its debt-ridden small farmers. The term scallywag was originally used as far as back as 1840s to describe a farm animal of little value. It later came to refer to a worthless person for opponents of Reconstruction. Scallywags were even lower on the scale of humanity than carpetbaggers, as they were viewed as traitors to the South. Scallywags had diverse backgrounds and motives, but all of them shared the belief that they could achieve greater achievement in the Republican South than they could by opposing Reconstruction. So they were still racist, but they were like opportunists. They were like opportunists. But when you see Yosemite Sam on cartoons with his gun and he talking about scallywag and all the kind of stuff, this is where it comes from. So you're watching symbolism and you don't even understand what you're watching because they put it in your cartoons. Right. So you see this man here. You see this image of this man here holding his gun. He was actually a Confederate soldier in your cartoons, but you didn't understand what you was watching. So let's go off to the next one before we get to depiction of us. This is another symbol here. How many of y'all remember a couple years back, you had Puff Daddy. You had Puff Daddy with that with the slogan, what was it? Vote or die. And he was rushing everybody to the polls to vote, and he had the vote or die aspect. And he was trying to get everybody, they was trying to get everybody to vote with the vote or die. Well, here you go. Benjamin Franklin depicted. He had a flag and he had an image, right? Franklin's join or die cartoon was so effective it rallied the colonists and influenced politics throughout 2 wars. So this is the image here. This is the image here of Benjamin Franklin's join or die. And this was during the Revolutionary War. So this is the image of a snake. And you have New England, you have New York, New Jersey, Rhode Island, Maine, Vermont, North Carolina, South Carolina. And he's telling all the colonies to basically join. So he has a disconnected snake, and he's telling the snake to connect, right? But this is an image that influenced the minds of the people to get on board to fight. So this is the image that I'm not going to get into it because I want to really get into us. What I wanted to do was just start off by showing you the aspects of images and how images control certain things. And when you had your white on white crime, they used images, but they also turned those images around and used those images on us. Now, how was those images used on us? They was used on us in many different ways. So I basically showed you guys like Lady Liberty, right? And why some of you love this white woman so much. Some of you can't get enough of this white woman so much. Well, those images been placed in your head so much that it now controls your deep inner thoughts. And when you see a white woman, you look at her, you even hold, some of y'all even hold this white woman over your own woman, even your own image. Because the very country that you've been raised in and educated in, the image of this woman, was a white woman holding up the republic. And she was always held to a certain standard. This is where your Becky's come from, and she can call the police on you, and the white man will swoop down. This is where your Superman and Lois Lane shit. You're a white woman in distress. Your white woman in distress comes from Mary Jane and your Spider-Man. There's always this white woman and this white man swooping in to save her or put her back on high. And you don't understand the psychological damage that's done to your mind as a black man, as opposed to many other things. So when you see these images, you have to know what these images mean. So now when we in Black YouTube and you watching these 90% of these so-called black conservative Republicans, why they always marry white? Why they got a white woman or a white man? Because that imagery that's in those colleges, that's in the institutions, is downloaded into their mind. And they really believe, they really downloaded and conditioned to be up under the system. These images mean something. When you're walking through the halls and you see all these images, that's why they give it to you that way. So let's go over here. I'm not going to be long. This is a short stream. I want to play this video for a minute, and I want y'all to see something during the Jim Crow era, right? And then I'll show some more pictures.
All groups, all racial and ethnic groups in this country have been caricatured. None of them has been caricatured as often or in as many ways as have Africans and their American descendants.
David Pilgrim is the founder of the Jim Crow Museum at Ferris State University in Michigan, home to the largest collection of racist memorabilia in the country.
You can take any piece that you see in here, and they do two things. The first thing is they reflect existing attitudes toward Black people. But the other thing, and maybe more important, is they shape future attitudes toward Black people.
The redefinition of the African American takes place in this period of time. The African American in antebellum times was the stereotype held, reliable, faithful, hardworking, malleable. Indeed, one entrusted one's children, one's property.
Now, I'm going to stop it right here for a minute, because I want you guys to see this image here of Big Mama. And a lot of times, even when we speak of Big Mama, sometimes we even get tears in our eyes because we understand the importance of Big Mama to the Black family here in the diaspora, in the Caribbean and in the Americas. Big Mama was everything. Big Mama was the one that when you had an ailment, Big Mama knew how to put the herbs together to heal you. Big Mama cooked the foods. Big Mama made sure. Big Mama kept the family intact. Big Mama was strong. Big Mama was even at many instances, the white man even had to go to the Big Mama for instructions, because she basically ran every goddamn thing. She took care of the children. She did everything. Big Mama was a jack of all trades, and they depict her in these images as this nanny, this fat woman that, you know, we look at Big Mama in love, but she was depicted in white societies and negative stereotypes and negative ways. But at the same time, while they was depicting her in negative stereotypes and negative ways, these same white men and white women would trust Big Mama with her children. So let's just look at some more images of it. For those of y'all that's in y'all 40s or more, 50s going back, I'm probably the last era of remembering the Big Mamas, because Big Mama don't exist no more. Big Mama's 32 now. But when I was a kid, Big Mama was still alive.
To such people. Now, of a sudden, the African American becomes demonized, a threat, a lascivious beast roaming the countryside of the South. People loosed by the end of slavery and now upon us like locusts. Well, this was an absurdity.
A massive propaganda campaign.
I want to stop there for a minute, because like I said, I mentioned when as we begin to grow in society, the further you go up the range, a lot of educated and wealthy Black people, you start to see them with white women and white men. But look at the way that they depicted a Black man as savage, overly sexed, going after this white woman. They depicted us this way. And when a lot of us get some form of success, we go in the direction of the way that they depicted us, because imagery is powerful. Even when you think the imagery ain't affecting you, it's affecting you. They put that stuff there for a reason. So in America, based off of everything that they've done to us, you have to look at yourself in the mirror if you understand the story and the history and say, well, damn, I got this white girl. Why do when I see this white girl, I get a sexual attraction? Or why do when I see this white man, I feel this way, or I feel secure, or a sense of power? Because they put these images in your mind without words. So when you see that video of the white woman running in distress, and these are images of white men, the way that they depicted black men. And now you got black men to this day that can't wait to get a white woman. It's not by accident. This is all this stuff was systematically done on purpose, and it's all mind control.
Demeaning African Americans and legitimizing violence against them was fundamental to reinforcing Jim Crow.
And that is one of the most vulgar depictions of African American children that we have in here.
Well, they're not human, they're bait.
That's right. They look like a litter.
This is a postcard?
Yeah, that was a postcard. Actually, what that one says is, "Dear Aunt Libby, this is what they do to the bad people in Delaware." And the significance here is that it shows a black person being beaten matter-of-fact way. It's the normalizing of violence against blacks.
Let me go back for a minute, because I want y'all to see something. I want y'all to see something.
Jim Crow.
And that is one of the most vulgar depictions of African American children that we have in here.
Well, they're not human, they're bait.
That's right.
Now, this is important, right? Here at the Jim Crow Museum, when you see the images of the way that the vulgar depictions of African American babies and children, and they use this alligator bait. They used to use us as alligator bait, right? But when they depict us in these manners to call us ugly, this is why we don't like the images of ourselves. All of this stuff is important that you have to know, because it reflects the way you see yourself today. Hold on a second. Yeah, it's a direct reflection of the way you see yourselves today. And these images were a reflection of the way white folks saw us that wasn't growing up in close proximity to black people. So that they didn't have to grow up around you, but the images dictated how they would view you when they saw you. So let's look.
They look like a litter.
This is a postcard?
Yeah, that was a postcard. Actually, what that one says is, "Dear Aunt Libby, this is what they do to the bad people in Delaware."
Now it says, "Dear Aunt Libby, this is what they do to the bad people in Delaware." Now, mind you, Delaware is the state that Joe Biden comes from. Delaware is the place in the 70s where Joe Biden was creating, co-sponsoring bills to keep black and white people segregated from each other. This is your presidential nominee now, Joe Biden. This is the stuff that you guys have to realize. Imagery gave depictions of the way white people view you. The bad people. So white people to this day view you as the bad person. CNN puts images of you as the shooter or getting shot. These are all views of the way of what they did. So when you talk about a reparations claim, I think that you guys have to understand different dynamics in a reparations claim. The reparations claim also depicts the way we were viewed in society. Our image was not protected. We didn't have a protected image where I would be able to do business to create an income based off the way that I was viewed by the dominant society and the way they projected me. This is what I'm trying to tell you. The way that they projected you in the dominant society, you was already marginalized. So in a reparations argument, I was not able to make money, not because I was incapable of doing the job. I was already viewed as less than before I even walked in the room.
And the significance here is that it shows a black person being beaten matter-of-fact way. It's the normalizing of violence against blacks.
And look at this kid's face.
Not only does that teach something about violence against blacks in this case, but it's also teaching him.
Oh, yeah.
Now let's stop it there for a minute. Let's go back to that little boy's face. Let's look at that image and him pointing at the image of the little boy's face. What does that mean in today's terms? Let me break that down for y'all. In today's terms, when you see that image and that fear of that little boy, watching this black man who he would look at as a person to protect him, being beaten by a white man as mobs of white people look on. It conditioned our minds to take all of our pain and frustration out on each other. Where some of us are understanding and know who the true enemy is, but we have fear of that enemy, so we take that out on each other. We come home and take it out on our wives. We take it out on our husbands. We take it out on our children. We join both political parties and we fight amongst each other as to which white man would better represent us. Y'all don't understand the psychological conditioning that this stuff done, and they make sure that that child sees this as a child. PTSD at its best. So he will be raised up to understand what to be subordinate to whites. Because this white man, this black man cannot protect you. And in 2020, you have black people in the Republican Party and the Democratic Party arguing and fighting with each other over which white man will be best suited to govern you. You have to understand what images mean. This is powerful. This is a little boy. When he sees, so now what happens is, how does a little boy take orders from his daddy or an elder black man when he sees he's powerless? To this day, you hear the young boy saying, I ain't got no old heads. Fuck them old heads. Because they don't see the old heads in a position of power or protection. Y'all have to understand how this thing works. And when we talk about a reparations claim is bigger than money. It's psychological. Man, fuck them old heads. I ain't listening to them old heads. Fuck them old niggas. He ain't take care of me. Where was you at? That's how they talk. Well, guess what? That's nothing new. It goes all the way back to this era. It goes all the way back to this era. Break up that fatherhood, break up that rites of passage, break up that aspect of the powerful black man who passed down strength generationally. Always draw a wedge between the young man and the old man. Keep that wedge drawn in between. And in between the young man and the old man is the goddamn white man. And it's still like that to this day, to this very day. The wedge in between the black boy and the black man is the white man. Because that black boy does not see himself in a position of power. He sees himself in a position of subordination, being subordinate. So how can this young man ever protect his women and children? How can he ever be at the doorstep or the forefront of a community as a protector, director, and corrector when the very man that would be able to teach him is being to a pole, being beaten? I think that we see these images and we don't really study the aspect of them like the brothers breaking it down and explaining to you the effects of it. The effects of it. Yeah, we had a civil rights movement. The reason why you had to have a civil rights movement because black folks were afraid. Fear's been downloaded into their minds. So let's play the rest of this little bit, and then I'll get into some more.
Teaching him. Oh, yeah. It's horrible.
So let me unshare this part. Let's go here. So this is Ferris State University, the Jim Crow Museum. And you had like places like the Coon Chicken, right? The Coon Chicken Inn was a small restaurant chain in the American West from the late 20s through the 50s. The restaurant was known for their entrances, which featured the head of a winkling, grinning, grotesquely caricature black man wearing a porter's cap. The word Coon Kitchen Inn was written on the teeth, framed by the oversized lips. Visitors entered through the doorway of the middle of the black man's mouth. Now look at this, y'all. Let's see if we can pull up. Look at this. This is the image of the coon. This is the image of the coon kitchen, right? As you can see, and the visitors enter his mouth. That's the door right there, inside the mouth. So what I'm saying to you guys now, listen, this is the 20s through the 50s, right? How is it that we're so forgiving? I don't understand how we're so forgiving. So look, let's look at it. Look, the restaurant sold Southern fried coon chicken sandwiches, Southern fried coon chicken sandwiches, chicken pie, livers, and hamburgers, seafood, chili, cakes, assorted sandwiches. When possible, blacks were used as waiters, waitresses, and cooks. The grandson of his founder wrote a brief history of the Coon Chicken Inn chain. We thank him for following us up to this account. So look, right? They had this Coon Chicken Inn. They had black people working in this motherfucker as waitress. And do you know at times we had to go around the back? We couldn't drink from fountains. We were serving white people in the restaurant of the Coon Chicken Inn. And in 2020 information, man, you got black people arguing over which white man is going to best represent us. I'm just saying. This ain't racism. This is history. This ain't me being racist. This is history. I'm teaching the history of racism in America on my people. You two can't do nothing to me for this. This is me teaching history. The fucking Coon Chicken Inn. Yeah, Popeyes. Let's go back to the other part of it, right? Let's look at the racism in the kitchen, right? Longwood's plantation syrup. During the Jim Crow period, a typical American kitchen had many products with images that portrayed blacks in negative ways. These included packaging for cereal. I'm in Philly. We call it cereal. Cereal, syrup, pancake mix, and detergent, salt and pepper shakers, string holders, towels, everything. Any object found in the kitchen could be and often was transformed into anti-black propaganda. Now, I want y'all now the reason why I'm doing this is because y'all got to understand something, man. The reason why black people to this day are considered guilty until proven innocent, the reason why we're shot in the back, the reason why we're looked at as something that's less than to this day, because of the propaganda and the education and the history that's never been changed. You can't just get this out of the minds of people. See, racism in the kitchen, plantation, the mammy, all this kind of stuff was portrayed on us for a long time. Racism on the lawn. The lawn jockey is a decorative yard ornament that characters black people and promotes the idea of servitude. Typically, a cast replica of a bow hand scale. It depicts a black man dressed in jockey clothing, carrying a lantern, or a metal ring suitable for hitching a horse. The black lawn jockey often have exaggerated features such as bulging eyes, large red lips, a flat nose, and curly hair. The flesh of the figure is usually a glossy black color. Caricaturing black people. In the United States, all racial groups have been caricatures, but none as often as many as black Americans. Blacks have always been portrayed in popular culture as pitiable exotics, cannibalistic savages, hypersexual deviants, childlike buffoons, obedient servants. Let's look at that. childlike buffoons, obedient servants, self-loathing victims, and a menace to society. Now that sounds very familiar, info man, where we always been depicted as menace to societies. What they put it on CNN. Every time there's murders in different cities, they always show black people. They don't show, as my brother Taz always show, the black media on Taz's many channels. He show all the stuff that they don't show you on mainstream that white people do. But they always depict us as menaces to society. They even had a movie, Menace to Society, where we're looked at as the violent group. So now when other groups come around us, we're looked at as already something that's violent. Childlike buffoons, hypersexual. They put images of big dick black men hovering over white women, or you watch a porn, and in the porn, and I want y'all to understand this is real stuff. In the porn that you watch, they have images of a black man with a goddamn 15-inch dick banging a white woman, and a white man in the corner watching. I mean, a white man is watching a so-called black savage devour his woman, and he's getting off by it. It's called a cuckold. If we think that that's something that watch porn, think that that's some form of entertainment, this black dude is destroying his white woman. No, all of this stuff is caricature, because they always made fun of. They said that your penis was a tail. They used to cut your penis off and put them in jars and give them to a white woman. That's why the goddamn white woman always looked at as a man with the big BBC or the big black cock. But the big black cock by white men was depicted as you being a gorilla or something animalistic, because nobody can have nothing like that. Goddamn King Kong. And when you watch when you watch it, it's always about sexual energy. The black man is always hypersexualized, a sexual deviant, or strong sexual energy, because the goddamn white man gets horny by the goddamn the goddamn white man gets horny just by the sight of a black man. As fucked up and crazy as that sound. That's why he monetized his penis all on in pornography. And the number one sites all throughout porn is a BBC, a black man fucking a white woman. Why? That's not many of us watching that. That's them watching that. They're entertained by it. You don't even understand that you being when you are being a cuckold, you are being an obedient servant. You are being an obedient servant because you are serving and entertaining them. That's what I'm trying to tell you. See, I want us to get out of our conditioned mind. When I'm speaking of porn, this is a teaching tool. You've been conditioned, man, I got a big black dick. No, whoa, slow down, player. Slow down on the BBC thing. These are labels that they put on you. You don't have to explain what's already understood. You know what's between your legs, but they was astonished by what was between your legs. So they labeled you, and they put you in the room with this now in modern era with this woman, and you turned on by watching it, not knowing that you're nothing but an obedient servant, where he's monetizing your penis and making money all around the world off of your penis. We got to understand the psychological damage that this stuff has done to us, man. And they trained us to be hypersexual deviants towards our own women, and conditioned the women to be okay with it. Because now a black man's power or his intelligence is in his power to work his tool, not his mind. A black woman don't even, if a black man can't fuck this woman right, he is no good. She don't care nothing about the provider or the protection he can give her. All his strength and everything about him is inside his penis. This is European conditioning, man. Self-loathing victims. That's childlike buffoonish type behavior. She's not seeing you for you being observant and being able to provide. She's not seeing you for being a position of correction, bringing direction. She's not seeing you. All she sees is a penis. Where does that thought process come from? And you wonder why we have so many single moms and fathers just with a bunch of babies everywhere, because we've lost sight of who we really are, and we become obedient servants to the people that created the system that we're now in. So when you read these words, characters of black people, I can read it. Exotics, cannibalistic, savages. I can break down how we behave under each one of these words. Buffoons, servants, loathing victims. These anti-black depictions routinely took form in material objects such as ashtrays, drinking glasses, banks, games, fishing lures, detergent boxes, and any other everyday item. So now let's look at that. Let's break that down, right? These anti-black depictions routinely took form on material objects. So if you are a white kid, Chaos Reign, if you are a white kid, Chaos Reign, and you've never been around black people, but every time you go to pick up a cup, you go into a bank, you pass your father the ashtray, you see a savage or childlike or buffoonish or hypersexual depiction of a black person, when you see a black person, how will you view them? To this day, we're still caricatured in those ways. That's why I created the Urban Nerds, because a lot of us think that either we're gonna sell some drugs. Look, matter of fact, let me bring up the image. Y'all don't think I'm playing. Let's bring up the image. To this day, a lot of us think that we're gonna sell some drugs to make it. You're gonna create an OnlyFans and shake your pussy on OnlyFans or Instagram and jiggle your ass everywhere. We're gonna rap. We're gonna be a basketball player. We're gonna cool and shuck and jive, right? Well, we think this way because that minstrel show is still going on now. They just revamped it. I'm in the city where there's 400 homicides so far this year, and we got 2 more months left. Because we're still performing the minstrel show because we see ourselves through the images that they made for us. So I decided to create the Urban Nerds because the Urban Nerds had to be something against the propaganda. It had to be something diametrically opposed to the propaganda. So when you go into the streets, your children know all the songs of the hip hop songs. They know all the drug dealers. They know all the people in the neighborhood that's not doing something that would be for growth, proper growth and development. But if I come out and I start teaching this stuff as to how they got this way, they don't know anything of it. So I had to create the Urban Nerds and try to promote black intelligence and tell them it's cool to be a nerd. Instead of, you want to be an urban shooter or you want to be an urban nerd? Which one you want to be? Which one you want your children to be? You want them to be part of the minstrel show? The continuation of so-called savage-like stereotypes, hypersexual stereotypes, that they promoted that on us so much that we became what they promoted. You actually live out the stereotype. I'm going to prove my point. You became it. The very aspect of how they portrayed us Back then, now, man, fuck a bitch, fuck a hoe, fuck that bitch. I'm a skeet in the face and fuck that nigga. And he ain't shit if he can't buy me a bag. Kill that nigga. And that's how we talk. That's how we talk now. Yo, bitch is my baby mama. And we put it in a song and we brag about it. We brag about how many women we can fuck. You brag about how many niggas you can fuck and how much money you can get from them. You talk about if there's a record for killing the most niggas and then I'm breaking it. We put it in the rap songs. It's the fucking minstrel show. But when we talk about breaking up these stereotypes, then we looked at it as, oh man, here he come. Oh man, this dude always preaching. Man, you always preaching that positive stuff until death show up at your doorstep. Look at this. Let's take this one down. Let's go to another. Let's look at another. Where is it at? Let me see if I can find that album. Hold on. Go all the way down to the bottom. This here is the image. This here is the image from 1930 Russia. Propaganda, where in Russia and America, Russia was against capitalism. And, you know, they had the war fighting with capitalism all over the world. So Russia put this propaganda piece up. They put this propaganda piece up. And you can see the Statue of Liberty, and hanging from the Statue of Liberty is a black person. And it said 1930, are you still hanging your Negroes? So all around the world, they knew of what was happening to black people in America. They can't say that they don't know now. They know what happened to us. Look. So look at this. This is Russia in 1930. And you have to understand that the mentality that we have today is based off of these atrocities and the way we was depicted. Look. Let's see. Let's pull this one up. Let's make it a little bigger. Look at this shit. It's the image of a black baby drinking ink to turn his skin black, and they call it nigger milk. So, what are you saying, George? George, what is it that you're talking about, George? George, what is it that you're trying to express to your people? See, Info Man, they beat up on the mind so much that you begin to see yourself as that which they're talking about. You're in so much pain, you begin to find ways to make yourself feel better about it. Look at that nigger milk. You're trying to find ways to, I'm a real nigga. Trying to find ways to make it feel good. Where all the real niggas at? Where the real niggas? That's my nigga right there. What's up, nigga? Goddamn, nigga. Matter of fact, I'm N-I-G-G-A, not E-R. What's up, nigga? But those depictions were created out of pure evil. And we turned around and we began to embody them. And now we use them on each other. Let's look at it. Hold on for a second. Because I'm gonna come right back to this. I want to go to over here, right? While I'm on that, right? I'm gonna go to a man. I want to go to a man named George Walker. And I'll show 1873 to 1911. George Nash Walker, born 1873 in Lawrence, Kansas, he left at a young age to follow his dream to become a stage performer and toured with a traveling group of minstrels. After performing at shows and fairs across the country, Walker met Burt Williams in 1893, and they formed the duo known as Williams and Walker. During this time, white men, now I want y'all to listen, white men performing in minstrel shows blackened their faces to pose as black performers. As a counter, Williams and Walker billed themselves as two real coons. Now, George, what are you doing here? See, before you get all antsy and be, oh my God, you have to understand what George Walker and his partner did. Burt Williams did. Watch this, Great Black Shark. So what happened was white people were dressing up in black faces, depicting us in less than stellar ways. Yep. I'll do it if you want me to, GBS. In less than stellar ways. So what Burt Williams and George Nash decided to do was counter what the white folks was doing. And they created a thing called two real coons, a descriptor that marked the two black men and a reference to the derogatory term coon used to describe people of African-American descent in the United States. While performing in vaudeville act throughout the United States, George Walker and his partner Burt Williams popularized the cakewalk, an African-American dance form named for the prize that would be earned by the winners of a dance contest. It was a distinct difference in the presentation styles between the two performers. While the light-skinned Burt Williams donned the blackface makeup, George Walker was also known as a dandy who performed without makeup. Now I want y'all to listen, right? I want y'all to stay with this, right? Because I'm taking y'all through here to explain to you guys during the time when we was being depicted, we was fighting back. Today, because we've been robbed of a thorough knowledge of self and been hit upside the head, we don't even know who Burt Williams and George Walker is. We don't even understand that we're being made fun of. And what Burt Williams and George Walker did was point it out and then reverse it on them and make fun of them, saying, no, fuck that, you're the cool. So let's look at it, right? George Walker, known as a dandy who performed without makeup, while Williams played the role of a comic figure. So Williams put the paint on his face depicting the white men that was depicting us and depicted them as comic figures. He depicted them as everything that they depicted us as. And George Walker didn't put no makeup on his face. He went as a black man who was an upstanding man of knowledge, privilege, and everything. So he went, and they went all around the world with this thing. Because this black man stood up for something and said, I am not that what you're calling me. I am not your nigga. I am not your coon. I'm not your savage. I'm not your hypersexual. I'm none of those things that you depict me as. And he went on stage in front of white folks with his chest in the air, boldly pronouncing this. But because we have no knowledge of this, it goes all down by the wayside. And now we real niggas. Now you a real bitch. Now if you got a man and he too nice, he corny, he better have a big dick and the white man's money. So you become a savage to your own. You become self-loathing. You become hypersexual. You become all the stereotypes that they once said that you were. They don't have to call them to your name anymore because you act them out. And then they took the cameras in front of you and plaster you all over CNN and said, look at these niggas. You got to understand the power of imagery. Look at this. While Williams played the role of a comic figure, George Walker played the straight man, a dignified counterpart to the privileged negative stereotypes of the time. Offstage, Walker was an astute businessman who managed the affairs of the Williams and Walker Company, a venture that brought them fame and wealth nationally and internationally. In 1903, they performed in Delhome's and Buckingham Palace in London, and then toured the British Isles. See, the numbers drop when we teach this. It should be going up, but it shows you the conditions of our people. Nobody should leave when I'm talking about this, because all of y'all live in cities where black people are killing each other at an alarming rate. What could be possibly be more important than this? This is the stuff that you have to show your children. This is the stuff that you have to show your daughters. It's very important. Stuff is right. While working in collaboration with Will and Marion Cook at, hold on, matter of fact, let me show you these guys real quick. Let me go here real quick. These are the images. This is Burt Williams and George Walker. This is Burt Williams and George Walker. And George Walker didn't wear any makeup. He didn't walk around as a step fetching. He walked as a dignified black man with his chin and his chest in the air. He spoke eloquently, with no fear. With no fear of this white man. He didn't have his mouth all droopy and his shoulders drooping. He didn't do none of that. What they did was put the black face on Burt Williams and have him depict the white man as an ass, as a comic. And George, why are you showing this? Because we have to turn the tables around on them and do the same today. So you get a chance, you can look up George Walker. Everybody go over there and look up George Walker. Let me go back to where I was at. So what I'm saying is, if you're looking at glasses, banks, boxes, detergent boxes, everything that they have on is a bad depiction of black people, and that's the way you're going to view yourself. So now in 2020, if you're watching videos and all the videos is depiction of big booty black bitches shaking ass everywhere and talking about how big a nigga dick is, black men talking about killing each other and how much they can stun on a nigga, black people arguing for the Republican Democratic parties to see which white man would govern them best, black people to this day not knowing the true aspects of their history, then you fall into these categories of what they view you. Savage characters. The savage characters show Africans as animalistic, crazed. Okay, cannibals, right? Let's find that. Let's see if we can find it. Let's find that. What's up here? Let's find it. Here we go. This is what they did to us, man. Y'all, man. This is what they did to us, Great Black Shark. Any particular you would like to be cooked? Any particular way you like to be cooked? Now you can see this is an image of darkies, which was supposed to be black people or Africans. This is a white man being tied to a pole. And these images were put there to keep white people in fear of black men, hypersexualized, cannibalistic, savage in nature. Protect the women and children from the black man. It's dinner ready. You have to understand the imagery. But we're full of forgiveness. In 2020, these images are still there for you. You better pull them up. You have black people still arguing and fighting over which Democrat or Republican is going to best govern you. to this day. Let's look. Let me see. Let me find another one real quick. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one. Now, in this image here, is a little boy holding a watermelon, and he has his natural hair. And for a long time, they made black people hate wearing their natural hair out or anything nappy. You wasn't happy to be nappy. You wanted to put a perm in your head. You wanted to cut your hair off and wear a close cut. You didn't want to have your hair. And you're looking at this image now, and these are things that we should never forget about because I need you guys to understand something. This imagery stopped black people from getting into certain powerful positions and making money. Now you had some that may have slipped through the cracks, but this imagery was very powerful in the way we was depicted in America. And we just allow this kind of stuff to go. But a lot of us that don't know history, yeah, let's look at another one. Let's look at another one. Let's look at this one. I mean, just look at this image here. And you can see in the image, it says Negro rule. Here it has the ballot box. And you have white people running. You have a bat wings. He has a tail, which represents savage, two legs, and we know what that tail represents, right? He has long claws and hands, and white women are running, white people are running for their lives. Because now, what did this image depict? It says Negro rule. And in that Negro rule, it represents black people having the right to vote at the ballot box. This is an image from 1900. Why are we so forgiving? Why are we so understanding? I don't really think that we understand what happened to us and why to this day we still can't get ourselves out of this way of thinking. They made this image because black men having the right to vote meant that at some point white people will be under black rule. Black rule. I got something else for y'all too. It will be under black rule. So they depicted the black man as savages. Any to this day, we're still depicted as savage. Black women, the little boys that come out of your womb that grows up to men are looked at as savage. So when y'all hear me come on here and say, I'm not mad at black girls rock, but the black boys are going to be the ones that's going to be the protectors and directors of your community. That should be the providers. And while we're conditioned to marginalize black boys and black men, the white man knows this because he's the orchestrator behind it. Put those women out in front and take those boys. Take those boys. Take that image of that little boy seeing that man being tied to a pole and beaten and break him down mentally where he won't understand his role. He would rather take on feminine aspects instead of manhood because he do not want to challenge or ever have to be unsubordinate to the white power structure. So while we're caught up in a gender war and we're saying toxic masculinity on black men, this is the way that white men is protecting black men. Sisters, we got to understand what we up against and what they're doing and who's the grand architect behind it all. So this ain't old stuff because it's still happening now. You got not all our sisters, but you got certain groups of black women separating themselves from the black collective and saying specifically for black women, as if when we say something specifically for black people, black women and black men represent black people. But this is part of a divide system that's orchestrated by the hidden hand. So these images mean something. Negro rule. And it's an image of a black man with long arms extended out. And all white women and children and white people, you better run for cover. Because you will soon be under Negro rule. Let's look at another one. This is one of my favorites right here. I'm about to pull up now. Let me go to the top. Y'all with me? Let me drink some water. Let's look at this one. Now, a lot of you guys look at what's the lady name? Help me out in the chat, Great Black. Help me out in the chat. Damn, what's her name? What's the lady that wouldn't give up her seat on the civil rights movement? It's some. It's not even most. It's just a small section, AC. It's a small section of women that's working for the Diamond Society, not all of our sisters. Because I'm gonna be honest with you. A lot of sisters, even when they come on YouTube and be mad at black men, I'm gonna just get into something that's natural nature. A lot of sisters that get on here and talk trash about black men, that's just an emotional response to trauma. 90% of black, okay, Rosa Parks. I got that. Now, let me lay this part out for you guys. Black men, don't listen too much to some of those sisters that get on here and talk bad about y'all. And I'm going to explain to you why. Some of those are emotional responses to trauma. Black women by nature are conditioned by nature to love black men. She may cuss you the fuck out and call you all kinds of names, but let somebody get shot or something bad happen to her brother or a black man in the hood. Black women are always the first ones on the front line, ready to fight for us. Because even though she may be hurt by you or upset with you, it's her nature to love you. She has a bosom and a womb. She's a receiver of what you give her, and she's a sustainer of life once what you deliver her. The black woman can never hate you. She may go through emotional trauma, but it's not in her nature to hate you. That's why I don't listen to a lot of this stuff, because I understand the grand architect that's causing a division, the so-called division amongst the black man and black woman. The black woman is acting out from pain of things that go on within white supremacy. She don't hate you. She's a receiver of what you give her. She can't hate you. So in one breath, she's saying, fuck y'all niggas. As soon as something bad happens, she on the front line defending you. So don't think that she hates you. We just got to mobilize as black men and get our shit together. Get our shit together. And give them something that they can sustain. Because by nature, she's waiting to receive something from you. We got to get our shit together. That's all. So let's look at this, right? We looked at Rosa Parks as the first, but there were many people. There were many people that didn't get up for white people. We had the Negro explosion and the stage coast things. Something I forgot the lady name in Philadelphia in the 1800s. She wouldn't give up her seat, but let's look at this one. Let me make this a little bigger so I can see it. On June 7th, 1892, Homer Adelph Plessy boarded a train in New Orleans, Louisiana, and sat in the white passenger car. An African American whose light complexion allowed him to pass for white. Plessy announced his transgression and was asked to leave and take a seat in the colored car. Plessy refused the demands of the conductor, and was arrested in jail under the jurisdiction of Judge John H. Ferguson. Before Judge Ferguson, Plessy, in his defense, argued that his ejection from the train car violated his constitutional rights under the 13th and 14th Amendments. Ferguson ruled that the state of Louisiana had the power to regulate railroad companies that operated within the boundaries of the state, which would, in this case, serve to uphold the de facto Southern tradition of racial segregation. Now, that right there is important, because as a black man, Plessy, now how many of y'all knew that Plessy versus Ferguson, Plessy was a black man? Plessy was going by the federal mandate under the 13th and 14th Amendment that should have protected him. But the state of Louisiana said, man, screw that. We ain't with none of that. This is our state and our boundaries. And we can uphold the de facto Southern tradition of racial segregation. The Plessy versus Ferguson decision will go before the United States Supreme Court in 1896. After some deliberation, the Supreme Court justices ruled 7-1 to uphold Judge Ferguson's previous verdict. This is the Supreme Court. The court has established that quality of the white car and colored car of the Louisiana of the East Louisiana railroads were of equal quality, separate but equal. Equal quality. And that any racial animosity created from the desegregation of the two separate cars was derived at because the colored race chooses to put that construction upon it. So it was Plessy's fault for using his constitutional right to sit in the seat that the United States government once said, but they reneged on it when it went to the Supreme Court. Do you understand the way we've been depicted for so long? Now, how can I correlate that to he's supposed to have equal protection under the law? You see Breonna Taylor's case, and there's a black man that could have the power to bring charges. But to this day, we're still not getting equal protection under the law. We're not being protected by the 13th and 14th Amendment. Look, the decision handed down by the U.S. Supreme Court would establish the legality of separate but equal. We're still living as separate but equal today in 2020. That's why it's so hard to get convictions of these so-called white men when they do stuff to black people every now and then, but it's hard. This is why when we do something or we are alleged to have done something, they plaster our face all over the news. But they protect the police and whites. You have to dig to find certain things that whites do across this country, but they plaster what we do. There's no separate but equal, which would be overturned in 1954 with the landmark case of Brown versus the Board of Education in Topeka. All of these things, all of this stuff has meaning. These images. These are all paintings and images. KKK. They all have meanings. Yeah, we're separate and unequal. Make sure you guys, man, if you can, hit that Cash App, man, scrolling, man, supporting Urban Nerds, man. As we move along. Let me see if I got some more photos before I get to the last part of my read. I had so many. Okay, yeah. Okay, here we go. Let's break down some of this. These are images. Wow, man. These are images from the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Race mixing is communism. This is the way that they viewed you. This is the way that they still view you. I mean, if you leave it up to certain groups of black Democrats and black Republicans, they make it seem like this stuff stopped, like this don't exist anymore. This is not slavery. This is people, your grandfather's era. When your father was a child, this is Jim Crow Joe and Donald Trump. This is their era. This could be Jim Crow Joe holding it up. This ain't that long ago. These are images. This ain't me espousing hate. This is George Macon, YouTube, teaching black history. Because black history is American history. This is something that actually happened. These are real white people holding up the flag, American flag. A young boy saying race mixing is communism. These are images of the 50s. Go back to Africa, Negroes. But see, you got a lot of black people that's in position, that hold some position of power, and they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to rock the boat. And they'll be the first ones to tell you, oh, that stuff was a long time ago. You got to let it go. White folks don't. See, for those that say that, how come they kept the Move 9 in jail for 40 years? How come Debbie Africa just getting out? Why don't they let Assata Shakur just go? It's been over 40 years, man. Why is Mutuma Shakur still in prison? White folks don't let it go. They don't forgive and forget. But why we always got to forgive and forget? Because the way we've been conditioned to view ourselves. We don't view ourselves as something of importance. Let's see, what else I got on here? Let's look at this one. All coons looking like. All coons looking like. And this is images. This is imagery. You know how they always say all niggas looking like, to the point where we even use that imagery on ourselves. We say all niggas looking like. And they got the big eyes, the big lips. They got these. I seen I can't find it right now, but it was they had an image of a black boy walking through the jungle, and he had a long dick, and it was alligator on the ground, and it was a white woman. It was alligator. All right, look, listen to this, y'all. This is some real shit. And I don't want y'all to think of this from a perverted aspect. I want y'all to think how fucked up this is. There was a joke in a caricature of a black boy with a long penis, it wasn't even erect, it was just long and hanging to the ground. And it was an alligator in front of him, and in between, behind the alligator was a white woman. And the alligator was coming with his mouth open to bite his penis. And the boy looked over to the white woman and said, "Hey, quick, say something nasty to me." Basically, now I want y'all to look. I want y'all to understand what I'm saying to you. There was a boy with his penis out, with his penis hanging to the ground. There was an alligator advancing towards him, and there was a white woman standing behind the alligator. And he looked. The white boy looked up to the white woman while his penis was on the ground. The alligator advancing towards him, and he told the white woman to say, "Quick, say something nasty to me." And there was another one that said, "Quick, show me your bosom, like your titties." And so he can get hard where his penis can lift in the air so alligator couldn't bite it. Now, some people will look at that and laugh and think that's funny, but it's not funny. That's not funny. That image depicted so much. That image depicted how they seen us as savages. because they said we had a tail which represented our penis. And the white woman bearing a standard of beauty that if she says something to me, I can get an erection and my penis will rise in the air where the alligator won't bite it. And to this day, black men are still depicted that way. Black men are still over-sexualized by the society. It's not just black women. White men and white women over-sexualize black men, and we're conditioned to like it or think that it's cool or status symbol. You think that it's a status symbol when they're talking about your big black cock, the BBC, on every porn site. You think it's a status symbol. It's not. It's the greatest form of disrespect that they can ever give you because they're conditioned in your mind to believe that your power, all of your power is in your penis and not your mind. You're only good for dicking a woman down, but not your mind. So the white man will take and monetize your penis and make money all over the world off of your image. So now whenever you go to a place in the world, before people even get to know you, all the people see you as is a great big dick. That's it. You're just a big dick that walked in the room. Not a smart man, not a courageous man, not a man of integrity, just a dick. Y'all got to understand, like, really what's happening here, man. Even our women view us that way. We're not viewed as protection, direction, and correction. We're just viewed as how big is his dick. It's going to determine what type of man he is. See what I'm saying? White man ain't viewed like that. That's the mistakes that we're making, and that's what we're getting caught up in. This is why I do I do these type of streams, because it's important that we understand as black men that we got to get out of that way. We got to get out of that way of thinking. It's dangerous. There go another one. Let's see. No dogs, Negroes, and Mexicans. I'm gonna keep it real. I consider all complaints from insults to me. Right, right, great Black Shark. But a lot of our people, and even see, I can talk like that because before I got knowledge of stuff, I was caught up in that kind of stuff, thinking that the power lied inside the penis. I was no good without the power of the penis. Instead of using my mind to become great, how loud I can make a woman scream, or you know, that's the way we're viewed. Now, remember the movie? I analyze and break down things. Remember the movie Colors? How many of y'all put a one in the chat if y'all remember the movie Colors? I'll wait for the ones to come in the chat and then I'll speak on. Put a one in the chat if y'all remember the movie Colors. The movie Colors. Y'all remember the scene in the movie Colors when they was raiding the house looking for Rocket. They was raiding the house looking for Rocket, and they went up into one of the black gang's homes, and when they went in there, the black dude was fucking the dog shit out of that black girl. Y'all remember that? She was screaming like you could when they pulled up. Now I want y'all listen because I know what I'm talking about. Y'all remember the movie Colors when they when they was looking for Rocket for that shooting in the van, and they raided the black house. They raided the Crips house, one of the Crips' home. And when they went there, they pulled up, and you could hear the girl screaming outside the house because it was a black dude in there fucking the living daylights out of her. I mean, he was just killing her. She was screaming loud as fuck. And when they bust open the door, remember they bust through, and he fucking is so intense. The music is playing. They don't hear nothing. The police rush in with the bust open the door. Boom. They rush in, but this goddamn hypersexual fuck demon is in there going to work, right? Fuck demon. He in there going to work, right? So in that image, right, in that part of the movie, they're shot. They hide behind the walls. They're on the ground. They got the whole house surrounded, and he in there just fucking the shit out this woman. She's screaming loud as hell. Oh my God! You thought he was killing her. And they showing images of him just humping. They show his ass. They show her titties, and he going crazy, right? Now, white America is watching this movie called Colors, and it's depicting black men as gangsters, gangbangers, killing each other at an alarming rate. So now if you're a white person and you're not in close proximity to black people and you're watching this movie that's critically acclaimed, 2 white police officers patrolling the community, trying to keep order. The Bloods and the Crips is at each other's throat, killing each other, doing savage drive-bys, all kinds of shit, right? And then, Leon, you get to the part, once you already looking at, these black guys in America are gangbangers and killers. Then you get to the part where he and they're having sex. And it's not like they do with white people. It's not the love making with the music on and they're taking off each other's clothes and knocking the lamps over and they're kissing. No, it's a black man with a big dick savagely dismantling a woman. And they plastered that on TV. At my young age, I didn't know what I was seeing, Great Black Shark. As young black people, we didn't know what we were seeing. But they was depicting the black man as an animal. And he was in there. He was in there. Only an animal can sexualize a woman that way. And a lot of them are turned on by it. But those were depictions of unruly, gangster, hypersexualized, big dick demon in that movie. And when he went to move for his pants, what did the white man do? He pumped 5 slugs in his back while his dick was still inside the woman. And she's screaming. But what did that signify? That was the white man slaying the beast. He slayed the beast. And they walked up to him and he was talking. He said, all I wanted was my pants. All I was reaching for was my pants. And he laid and died. But you watched that movie and you thought you was being entertained. You didn't even realize that the way they was depicting you to the world. And I have to explain this way, and those of y'all that got an ear to hear, let them listen, but most of our people not going to understand because their minds is conditioned. That correlates to the memorandum, right? 46, they wanted to ruin our images. Right, yes, they wanted to ruin our image. And they portray you as a gangster and as a sexual animal demon in that movie. Wasn't nothing positive in that movie about black people. I mean, they had the images of Mexicans as well. But it wasn't nothing positive in that movie about black men. It depicted our sexual prowess and us being gangsters. So let's look at the mammy. From slavery through Jim Crow period, the mammy character served the political, social, and economic interests of mainstream white America. I told y'all that. During slavery, the mammy character presented the idea that blacks, in this case, black women, were content and even happy as slaves. I got to address that. Her wide grin, hearty laughter, and loyal servitude was offered as evidence of the supposed humanity of the institution of slavery. The mammy character romanticized the realities of slave and servant life and obscured the unequal foundation of the master's servant power structure. Portrayed as an obese, coarse, maternal figure, the mammy had great love for her white family, but often treated her own family with disdain. That's not true. Although she had children, sometimes many, she was, by mainstream standards, sexually unappealing. She belonged to the white family, though it was rarely stated She was a faithful worker. She had no black friends, and oh, okay, yeah. And the white family was her entire world. Yeah. When you talk about the mammy, my bad. When you talk about, see, there's a difference, right, between the mammy though and Big Mama. Cause see, Big Mama is depicted in the same image, but the Big Mama was the total opposite of the mammy. Big Mama understood white supremacy, and Big Mama fought in wars, and she also protected the black man. There's a lot of things that went on in history that we don't understand and we don't know. When it came to Big Mama and where the term honky come from, and the honking of the horn, and black women being raped, or black women being raped by white men, just so her husband wouldn't be killed. See, when I do my part two to this, I'm gonna bring that out too. There were times when the black man was ready to take up arms against this white man for coming at his wife, but the black woman, being sustained her life, she just told him to let things happen because she didn't want him to be murdered. She didn't want him to challenge the system for fear of him being murdered or the children being murdered. We don't understand what really happened to us and what they did, and how they drove wedge and divisions against the black man. So what I'm saying to you guys, the reason why a lot of black men left the home or drunk so much or felt worthless in his home, because he was powerless to defend his woman in many cases. It wasn't that Big Mama was a mammy. Big Mama was preserving life of the children. You gotta understand, when they burned up cities like Rosewood, Tulsa, they killed men, women, and children, man. The Devil's Punch Bowl. And a lot of those women fought to keep those children alive. And a lot of the black men lost their purpose. So there's a lot of history that we don't know. Let me see. I don't know if I want to read these. I'll read these two before we get out of here. Racial imports. In 2011, approximately 1/4 of the objects in the Jim Crow Museum were produced in other countries. Australia, Brazil, Canada, England, Hong Kong, Japan, Mexico, and Taiwan. The N-word. The word nigga is a shorthand way of saying that blacks possess the moral, intellectual, social, and physical characteristics of a coon, brute, tom, mammy, and other racial characters. Now, this is proving my point. Of a coon, a brute. So in colors, when you see him having sex with that woman, it was brute sex. It wasn't love making. We didn't have the ability. We were animals. But that right there also attracted the white woman to the black man, because she wanted that brute sex. She wanted that aggressive, animalistic like sex. But this is showing, this is the diabolicalness of what our people was going through. Although considered by many to be a hateful slur, the word is used in different ways and contexts to connote different meanings. Racism as a commodity. All of the objects in the Jim Crow Museum have market values. In 2011, there were more than 50,000 collectors of Black Americana, a category that includes racist artifacts. Generally, the more racist an object is, the higher the price it commands. This is the thing, though. Let's read Aunt Your Mama. Aunt Your Mama. In the 1880s, Chris Rutt, who had recently developed the idea of the self-rising pancake batter, attended a minstrel show that included a skit with a Southern mammy character named Aunt Your Mama. Rutt and his partner Charles Underwood decided that the mammy dressed in an apron and bandana would help distinguish and sell their pancake mix. When the R.T. Davis Mills Company purchased Rutt and Underwood's company, they employed a real person to portray Aunt Your Mama in their marketing scheme. Nancy Green, born a slave in Kentucky in 1834, became the first real Aunt Your Mama. She impersonated Aunt Your Mama to her death in 1923. And at the 1893 World Exposition in Chicago, Green as Aunt Your Mama sang songs, cooked pancakes, and told romanticized stories about the Old South as a happy place for blacks and whites. Afterwards, her image was plastered on billboards nationwide with the caption, "Eyes in town, honey. Eyes in town, honey. Eyes in town, honey." In her role as Aunt Jemima, Green made appearances at countless country affairs, flea markets, food shows, and local grocery stores. By the turn of the century, Aunt Jemima, along with the armored meat chef, were the two commercial symbols most trusted by American housewives. So these are images. These are all images. Let me see. I've been on here too long. These are all images of how they portrayed us and how we're seen. I'm gonna do a part two. You say Ace, I didn't catch the subliminal. The subliminal of that title was colors, and in colors, that's how they projected black men as sexual deviants. So as sexual deviants and criminals. So when you watch it, colors, it's showing the gangbanging in California. But then when they get to the sex scene, oh yeah, matter of fact, matter of fact, hey, where you at, Great Black Shark? And then Great Black Shark and Dead Shot, because y'all seen colors. Remember in the sex scene with Sean Penn, the white guy and the Mexican girl, it was a love making scene. They was making love. They had the music on. They was in the bed rolling around. They was kissing. They was kissing, and they was doing all. It was romantic. It was passionate. It was things that it was emotions involved and things that women would like, right? So-called things that they depict that women would like. But when it got to the black man and black woman scene, it was a black man viciously and violently just I mean, you heard the woman screaming outside the house when they was pulling up in the cars. This is the way that they depicted the black man. So the black man was depicted as hammer dick, sex, or whatever you want to use. So now these white men, so now these white men were going into the home. He was hammering, he was blowing down so hard on the black girl that he didn't even hear them bust in the house. She didn't even hear anything. And when you look at the image of Sean Penn doing it to the Mexican girl, it wasn't depicted that way. So we were sexual demons because they was creating a pornographic market off the black man's penis, and we were savages at the same time. That's the way we was projected in the movie Colors. And when I showed you the image of, hold on, let me share the screen again one more time for people that might not have been here. Hold on. Let me do this one more time. Let me do this one more again. One more again. When you see this image here of Lady Liberty, and you see the Copperheads, which were Democrats of the South and North, and they were considered Copperheads or snakes because the Union people called them snakes because they was divisive and they was bad people. But you see this image of this white woman holding like the Captain America type shield, sword in hand, the star here, and she's Lady Liberty. She represents the Republic of a Colombian faction. She represents the Republic. The image of this white woman was pristine. The image of this white woman was the image of beauty, the image of tenderness, the image of everything. So now when you find yourself looking at white women as black people, her hair, you put the weave in your hair, coming down, depicting an image of a white woman, you look at this white woman as the standard of beauty and porn and everything else, you feel like it's a status symbol. She can come to your church. She can bring her nonprofits in your community, and you support this white woman because the Lady Liberty was a depiction of the white woman. This is where this stuff comes from. It's in your mind psychologically. You don't even know it. But you are a part of the institutionalized racism. Because this Lady Liberty did not stand for black people. Look, let me show y'all. Show y'all. Colombia. She represented the Republic. She's seen as a major role in World War I propaganda posters. Sow the seeds of victory. Plant, rise your own vegetables. This is Lady Liberty. She's also been pictured standing up for the rights of Chinese immigrants. This is the white woman. This is the white woman with her hand on the head of an Asian, with a mean scowl, a mad face, looking at the white man, telling him to get back. As you can see, it says the importation of Chinese barbarians, the barbaric Chinese. And this is the white woman swooping to his safety. Lady Liberty. Lady Liberty. The Republic. Now, where did they get this stuff from? All throughout the world, the feminine principle was represented as the first god or the representation of the nations. So it's nothing new. Here in the 19th century, Colombia appeared often in cartoons. Here she gives a lady liberty-like welcome to the persecuted Germans in 1831. This is why Europeans can send this white woman all over the world with their Christianity and democracy into your countries, and your condition to be soft to them. A white woman is God in Africa. A white woman is damn near God in the fucking black community. No matter how much people want to admit it, she's your school teacher. She's your nurse when you go to the doctor. When you're a little boy, she's teaching you math and reading. The white woman. This white woman, man. She's your social worker, secretary. She's all these different things, man. Your mama is your mama, but you're used to taking orders from Becky, the white woman. Mr. Charlie's wife. She's your standard of beauty. And we have to break that cycle and break that change. She's all on your TV, all on your news and your magazines and everything. We have to break that cycle and break that chain. She's this teaching is the reason why our sisters is weaving it up, and black men think the standard of success is having a white woman. It's this download into your subconscious mind that you have to that you believe that you have to be a part of this in order to either have beauty or have some form of success. Lady Liberty, the Republic, it's in your head. We have to decolonize our minds, man. This is what they done to us. Let me see. What was that image at? Look at this. Now they got these images. They got this. I'm not going to get into Phyllis Wheatley yet. I'll come back later. But these are all image of the early Americas, man. These are all images of the early Americas. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna unshare my screen. Hold on, let me see. Hold on, yeah. Let me show y'all one more thing. Let me show y'all one more thing. Let me bring this back up. This is the image of the Tammany Tiger from Tammany Hall with Thomas Nast. Thomas Nast had the image of the tiger attacking Columbia, Lady Liberty. She's on the flag. Her sword is off the ground. They're going after the Republic. They want to take down the Republic. This is Tammany Hall. This is the Democrats. They want to take over. They want to enforce slavery. They want to keep things the way that it is. So they put things in images. So I'm gonna stop sharing because I'm 2 hours in. I gotta eat something. I haven't eaten anything all day. Oops. Yeah. So this is just some stuff, man. Yeah, this is just some stuff. I haven't done a live stream like this in a long time. I was inspired by one of my teachers, brother Danny from New Black Knowledge. If you type in New Black Knowledge, NBK, um, make sure y'all go over there, man, and y'all subscribe, man. That brother, man, is an amazing teacher. He's one of my teachers. A lot of stuff that over the years that y'all see that I brought, I actually learned from him. And then I teach things on my own. Some things I have on my own, but a lot of things I got from him. Yeah, they were. That's where I was blessed because all my so-called bad schools, the majority of teachers was black. Yeah, but you know what's crazy is a lot of the schools in the worst area, they bring young white women to teach our children. In some of the most gulliest areas in America. And what I need people to understand this, because this channel is demonetized, so I need everybody to get ready that the Urban Nerds channel is going to be open, but I'm ready to start a new channel, a George Macon 3 channel, because this channel is demonetized for me teaching truth, me teaching real history. Me, what's going on, Black Voltron? Me bringing this information out. So I wanted to start off today where I wanted to show just Thomas Nass and the aspect of Christianity, the Republican Party. Those of y'all that what matter of fact, you know what? Let me just do one more thing for those of y'all that wasn't here. Just one more thing. Just one more thing. Let me do one more thing real quick. Those of y'all that wasn't in here earlier. Let's look at the Democratic Party. Let me just read this one thing. The symbolism of the Democratic Party. Make sure, make sure you guys, man, if you can, you guys are supporting that Cash App, man. This stuff is important, man. Like I said, uh, the Urban Nerds channel is about to be unveiled, and I'm creating a new channel because this channel is demonetized, and this channel is only demonetized because I'm teaching history. The channel's not demonetized for me hating anybody. Hold on.
The donkey. Clever.
Hold on.
Tough. Courageous.
What the
So,
hell?
not only that, it's also the symbol of the Democratic Party.
Hold on.
So how did these two get hitched in the first place? Way back in 1824, Andrew Jackson was one of 4 Democratic Republican candidates for president. Jackson won the most votes, but because nobody had a majority of the Electoral College votes, that meant the House of Representatives got to pick the next president. And they picked John Quincy Adams. Jackson was so mad
And being stubborn because during that time, with racism and slavery and everything that was going on, they wanted to hold on to their slaves. They wanted to hold on to their slaves, and they were being stubborn. So yeah, I just wanted to share that aspect of the Democratic Party and what happened. So the white man broke it down. And he gave you the story, but most of us don't even understand that, man. We're supporting jackasses. We're actually on here supporting jackasses. So I'm gonna get out of here, but I want y'all to remember, yeah, man, make sure y'all hitting that Cash App. Make sure y'all supporting Urban Nerds. I got stuff coming, and I'm gonna do a live. I'm gonna start this new channel, and I need everybody to go over there and subscribe to the new channel and the Urban Nerds channel. I'm not gonna be operating from this channel too much no more because they demonetized it, and I've been trying to get them to bring it back since June, and they haven't brought it back since June. So I'm gonna have to create another channel. So remember, I love my people more than they hate themselves, and I pray to the universal creator most high that these words are enough to inspire you. These words are enough to make you look at yourself in the mirror and make change. These words are enough to make you look at your children and know you have to make change. I hope that when you came here for information, and when you leave here greater than what you was before you came. I hope that you share this information on all the social media mechanisms that we use to get the message across. It's time that we had a conversation. Symbolism and images are very important. It can dictate how a person is viewed before you even open your mouth and introduce yourself. So you have to understand the symbolisms of things. That's why I showed Tammany Hall. I showed how Thomas Nass and them and how they depicted things, how they depicted Lady Liberty, the Copperheads, the Scallywags, Yosemite Sam, how he was a Confederate, how he was a Confederate soldier with two guns, and he always talked about the scallywags. He hated the scallywags of the South. We got to know the symbolism and what's happening, and how we're being controlled today as Black people. I showed the images of the nigger milk and how they viewed us, both Black and Republicans, and how to this day in 2020 we are fighting as Black people to see which white man is going to govern us, is going to govern over us. We're still operating as coons and sambos. Those depictions that they put on us, we're still operating under that thought process. So remember, make sure y'all supporting Urban Nerds Worldwide. Uh, Make sure y'all supporting Urban Nerds. The website is up. You can go to Urban Nerds Worldwide, type in Urban Nerds Worldwide website. You can purchase things, or you can email me, and I'll get you. I got the sweatsuit on. Let me see. I got the Urban Nerds sweatsuit on, as you can see. I got the shirt on. Yeah, we got the sweatsuits. So we got all the stuff on. All proceeds go directly to Urban Nerds, man. And once this COVID thing and they can start opening up stuff, you're gonna see us moving around. Right now, we can't move in the manner in which we want to move because they got everything shut down. Like they got too much stuff shut down, so we're not able to move the way we want. But make sure y'all supporting Urban Nerds, man. So make sure y'all supporting all proceeds. Everything you do, all proceeds go to Urban Nerds. So remember, I love y'all. To the next time, peace, peace, Black Voltron.